What is going on, everybody? So I took a look at some of the reasons to buy the Z Fold 3 a while ago, and what I wanted to do is do the same thing for the Z Fold 4. And today we're going to look at 6 reasons to purchase the Z Fold 4 as your main device and 6 reasons not to. I don't know why I have this in the screen, but yeah, we're talking about this mostly. So reason number 1 is the Fold 4 has a refined design, and this is something that's very subtle, but definitely something that's very, very appreciated. So what I mean by this is if you take a look here at the Z Fold 3, if you notice the hinge or sort of this left side of the device, this sticks out a lot more, and it actually makes it so that your cover screen is not as big. Samsung has gone ahead and trimmed down the bezel over here, which is what I was trying to say before. And they've actually trimmed down the size of the hinge, so the overall refinements to the design here make for a much better phone, in my opinion. The device is even lighter, and you can definitely feel it, although it's still kind of heavy, but it's still lighter, you know? It's just something that I really do appreciate. The next reason is the fact that Samsung has upped the resolution of the cover display. So the cover display on the Z Fold 3 wasn't bad, but if you were looking for it, and even sometimes maybe when you weren't, I guess I could admit, you can still see some pixelation in the icons and just overall when you're looking at individual items on the screen. Fold 4 does have a slightly upgraded resolution, and when that goes hand in hand with that wider display, it actually does look better in my opinion. So yeah, the cover display is definitely more usable in terms of its size. So yes, this does make the cover display more usable, or definitely more pleasing to the eye because of that resolution upgrade. The next thing is that color representation is sort of more of what you would expect. So on the Z Fold 3, there was this yellowish tint, and maybe you can't see this on camera, but on the Z Fold 4, it has been improved. Now, I am not an official or professional display tester, but I will say that there is a noticeable difference if you're looking at both phones hard enough. And you can definitely see it on colors like green here. I don't know if I can see that on any other colors. Well, blue, maybe not. But yeah, maybe you can even see it here on white, where the Z Fold 4 looks like closer to what you would expect from the color white. So yeah, upgraded color depth, if that's the right way to say that. The next reason someone might want to choose Z Fold 4 is because the camera is a little bit more versatile now. So it's not going to be the camera that you would get on the S22 Ultra. However, it is the one that you would get on the S22 and S22 Plus. And with the added bonus that the night photos on this phone are supposed to be 23% brighter. So the Z Fold 4 has brought with it an upgrade to the camera, and that is definitely something that would be worth it for anybody getting a foldable device. Because as always, the best camera is the one you have with you. The next reason is because the under display camera is now less distracting on the Z Fold 4. So in this example I have here, you can probably or probably not see it on the Z Fold 3, which it's right here. On the Z Fold 4, it's actually right here. And in person, this would probably come out a lot better, but I do love the fact that Samsung made the effort to make the under display camera just less visible than it was on the Z Fold 3. On the Z Fold 3, it gets kind of distracting sometimes when you're looking at particular colors like white here or gray. I think this is gray, probably gray. Yep, that's gray. So yeah, the under display camera is definitely hidden better on the Z Fold 4. Last reason to go with the Z Fold 4, which may or may not be important for everybody, but there are more color choices with the Z Fold 4 than you would get on the Z Fold 3. And of course, color choice may or may not be that important to everybody, but I believe self-expression is definitely one of the most important things in life. Now, moving on to the reasons you may want to skip the Fold 4, number 1 is that it is still one of the most expensive devices out there, if not the most expensive, at $1,800. And that's just for the 256. If you go up more, you're definitely going to pay more. So yeah, it is still a pretty expensive device, especially without a trade-in. The next reason is that you still cannot use the S Pen on the cover display, even though it is bigger. I think that would have made perfect sense for Samsung to include a digitizer in the cover display, just to basically make everything sort of uniform, but you can't use the S Pen on there, and that, it doesn't irk me as much anymore. I've come to accept it, but it is still something that may be important for everybody else. The next reason is because the camera is not the best Samsung has to offer. So like I said before, this is using the S22 and S22 Plus's camera, while the S22 Ultra benefits from having the 3x optical zoom, the 10x optical zoom, and the 100x digital zoom. Now, are all of the camera modules on the S22 Ultra necessary for this phone? I don't know. I can still get moon pictures and stuff, but just knowing that there is a better camera that Samsung makes out there is one of the reasons why someone might want to skip the Z Fold 4. The next reason is because the official S Pen case here does not protect the hinge in comparison to the Z Fold 3 case, which it did at least give it some protection. Now, of course, everybody's going to go out there and buy their own cases. However, if you are wanting the S Pen, this is still one of the only other ways to get it, and you can buy it separately, but you'll have nowhere to store it. The other thing that's kind of annoying about this case, other than the fact that they just give you this little slim sort of like makeshift plastic thing to kind of put on there to protect it, is the fact that if you're charging the device wirelessly, it will only work on certain wireless chargers. I have about 2 other Samsung wireless chargers that I cannot get this to work on while the S Pen is attached. And yes, I said attached. You can definitely go ahead and remove this, but you know, that's kind of going to be annoying. Like if you get up in the morning and you're just rushing out of the house, now you just left your S Pen and you have way less productivity, or at least a little bit less productivity. Anyway, yes, the official case doesn't protect the hinge, and it just kind of doesn't work with the wireless charger unless it does work with the wireless charger. The next reason I would say someone might want to skip the Z Fold 4 is that battery life is not as expected. I've seen a lot of articles that state that it had better battery life than the S22 Ultra. However, I am not personally seeing that. And since nobody's configuration is ever the same as another person, I would be more hard pressed to say that the battery life on the Fold, although better than the Z Fold 3, it's not by much. You can definitely still get a full day's worth, like maybe 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, maybe even, depending on how you're using it, but still something that is not as great as I would expect anyway. That's just my personal opinion, just like all of these other reasons anyway. Last reason is the fact that this phone still charges at 25 watts, and that is the max it can go. Samsung's other phones like the S22 Plus and the S22 Ultra charge at 45 watts. Now, this may not be a deal breaker for everybody, just like most of the other points in this video. However, for people who are used to charging their phone at a higher wattage, you're not going to get that with this. It still charges pretty darn fast, even with 25 watts. I will say that. However, it's a smaller battery, so make of that what you will. Okay, so those are 6 reasons to get the Z Fold 4 and 6 reasons not to buy the Z Fold 4. Now, of course, there are definitely other reasons out there. However, I don't want to make these videos too long. These are just to give general ideas and sort of get straight to the point, or straight to some of the facts people may not be thinking about. But as always, wherever you're in the world, have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, or a good night, and I will see you in the next video, and I hope you learned something from this video today. Thank you.